Texas 200, 6 days of sailing, 5 days camping out on barrier islands on the Texas coast. This is day one. June 14th, 2020. Start of the Texas 200's 13th annual running. I'm pulling out of Port O'Connor, Texas. I'm going to hook up with some people down on Sunday Beach for the evening. Texas 200 is 6 days of sailing, 5 nights camping out on different islands along the coast of Texas. It can be a brutal, deadly event, and you have to be prepared for anything that comes because there's no facilities once you pull out of the dock. No ice stores, no bathrooms, no nothing. So I left Houston Sunday morning. It's now about 4:30 in the evening as I get launched with an overloaded boat and head down to Sunday Beach. I've been to Sunday Beach before on a last fall. We did a winter camping trip. So I knew where I was going. I've never packed a week's worth of provisions on the boat before. Didn't really know exactly where the weight distribution would lie and how much was too much, even though the boat will carry a lot. So my plan was to hit Sunday Beach because the next day going south, I'll be passing by my boat ramp there again, and I can drop off anything I decide I don't want after I reorganize the boat. Turned out to be a good plan because I did drop off a few bags on the way back by. Short little hop out the ICW and out into the open bay. Turn towards the Gulf, and away we go. The boat was heavier than I had ever had it before, so I had to adapt to it while sailing, but everything was going good. The winds were favorable, the water was light, and speeds kicked in right away. About an hour and a half out, I could see Sunday Beach and a batch of tents. People are already there. I was rolling in hot and heavy. I knew from the last time I was there the water gets shallow and I would be dragging bottom before I got there, so I wanted some good momentum. I'd start tapping the bottom anytime. I did more than tap. I hit it solid. With about a quarter mile to go, and I was hard on the bottom. After doing all the little wiggle it with the motor tricks and the push-pull and everything, I finally realized there was only one way out of this. Get my fat ass out of the boat to light it up and start pulling. I didn't know at the time, but I found out soon that it was low tide. The rest of the larger boats there had slid in during high tide. Luckily, it was a hard bottom. It was a good footing. Had a bunch of troughs in it from the power boaters. They'd get stuck and hit the gas and dig ruts out with the propellers. So you have to watch that. But I got quite a bit in until finally it just was not going to go any farther under my power. The tents were getting closer. I was smelling victory. With about 100 yards to go, my options were getting thin. I stubbornly huffed and puffed and yanked and I'd get an inch here, an inch there, and finally realized it wasn't going to make it. Then, like a knight in shining armor, Brian waded out to give me a hand.
Yeah, that's right there. I wonder if instead of trying to like push it nose down, if we like pick up the pole backwards, we pick the bow up, just like.
We got a little farther, but it still wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, that may help. That water's buoyant, it's still those barrels are tight, she'll float on her own.
So we started to pull stuff off the boat to lighten it up, starting with 100 pounds of water. Breaking my beach umbrella in the process. That's when Brian's dad waited out to give us a hand also.
There we go, let's try again, let's get rolling. No, it's bottoming out with the jugs. Probably need a little bit more weight, and then she'll go. Once you get about right there into that hole, she'll be solid.
The water was soon followed by a 50-pound cooler of beer and ice. Gotta have the essentials. Then the gear started coming off. And next came the ice cooler, full of about 40 pounds of ice. And after much more yanking and pulling, it broke loose and slid right up to the beach. Brian pulled and I pushed, and eventually we got the job done. It was a lot of work. I was exhausted, dizzy, lightheaded. I was whipped. It wasn't for Brian and his dad, I'd still be out there. Once I caught my breath, I set up camp, got something to eat, and hung out with the crew. Brian, his dad, and I apologize for the life of me, I can't remember his name. He was the nicest guy in the world. Mike and Kay. We drank beers around the campfire and enjoyed an awesome sunset and great stars. Every time you look up, there's at least one satellite you could pick out right away. It's really beautiful at night. The crabs are everywhere. If you had a tent light on, the crabs would scratch at the wall of your tent until you turn the light off. But I got plenty of sleep. Get ready for the next day's run to Hidden Pass, which didn't work so well, and ended up at Panther Point. So you'll have to go to day number 2 to see that caper. So like, subscribe, and get on the list, because I'm taking you bastards sailing.